I, if I'm correct, I believe most people, most of the guests and host here believe that the Bible is not true, at least in its entirety. Is that correct?
I don't think
That's
that.
the sense that I'm gathering.
I think the and I'm not trying to speak for everyone, but I would say that most of us are simply wanting to look at the Bible for what it is. And I think that's a very truthful observation. Let's just admit to what it is and quit trying to pretend that it's something that it's not. And so I don't know
But
of
I would say,
anyone
and see
here.
that, and
Well, let me finish my point. My
sorry, go
point
ahead.
is we're simply trying to say this is what we have. And it's really difficult to go beyond what we have. And so I think that Dr. Shook would agree with me. He does agree that there is a Bible, and he
Yeah.
probably would agree with certain things stated in the text, regardless of what the translations are. I mean, when you hear things like love is kind, love is patient, I would assume that he would say, yes, that's a wonderful idea. I don't think that he would reject that. But we're talking about what actually exists, when it comes to the Bible. And I know that you are in a sense a biblicist. Is that correct?
I believe so. I'm not totally familiar with the term.
Oh, okay. But let me be quiet for a moment and let you just speak.
Sure. I think what you said is a good example of something that I disagree with because what you're saying is, or what you're suggesting by what you're saying is that the Bible is not the Word of God, and that's I think what you mean by saying let's just take it for what it is, because I believe that it is the Word of God. So if we are to take it for what it is, we would disagree on that particular point. Does that make sense?
I understand what you are suggesting about these or the Bible. And are you suggesting this about the Bible itself without being specific? Or are you saying that a certain text base of the Bible is the Word of God? And if so, which text base?
I'm not really understanding your question. I'm talking about the Protestant canon, the Bible,
Okay,
Old Testament, New
okay,
Testament.
okay. The Protestant canon has several text bases. In other words, you can't look
Hmm.
at the Protestant canon without looking at different uh,
The Hebrew Scriptures and the Greek New Testament.
Okay, but let me finish my point. If we look at the Greek text, it's not just in one form, but it's in multiple forms that have been gathered to make up different textual models. And so we do not have just one text base, we have various. One would be the Textus Receptus, which a lot of people really get dogmatic
Oh,
about the third edition. A
okay.
lot
I
of people
understand
are
what you're
going
saying
for
now.
another text base, and so my question would be, in particular, if you're going to make the argument that this is the Word of God, my question would be, in particular, which text base do you advocate and why?
Okay. Here's a little bit of a misunderstanding that I think is common. When I'm talking about the Bible, I'm not talking about a text base. I'm talking about the original words that were written down.
We don't
And
have the original words that were written
from
down.
all of the different manuscript streams that we have, the textual traditions we have, the Textus Receptus is not a manuscript tradition in itself. It's actually an eclectic text that's draws from other streams itself. But you have like Byzantine types, Alexandrian types, all sorts of different types of text streams coming from all over the place. We have all sorts of different manuscripts, and what I'm saying is that from all of those manuscripts, we have contained within them the original words. Does that make sense?
It really doesn't, because it's quite a leap of faith. We're talking about fragments. We're talking about thousands of fragments that come together to make various
Yeah, and
modelings of a
yeah,
text
honestly,
that we are simply putting together to assume that we have maybe something close to one autographa. We don't have an extant autographa. And so my point is, since we don't have any of the original writings, we can't say with certitude that we actually have X, Y, or Z concerning that. And my point is,
I'm familiar with the atheistic form of textual criticism coming from people like Bart Ehrman and stuff like that. But you have to realize, as well as the viewers, that there are people on the other side of the issue, and lots of great arguments made for that. But if this is a point where we can really get into what the presuppositional apologetics, the presuppositional method is and how it works, because what I would say when you ask me how I know what I have today as the Bible is the original words. You're telling me that it's not. Is that correct?
I'm simply saying we have no proof that it is.
Okay. And now here's where we get into the apologetic a little bit, because proof, the concept of proof itself, presupposes the idea of truth, knowledge, and logic, right?
Well, when someone makes the claim that we have something identical to an autographer, I would ask simply for your method and practice for getting from this point to that point.